Hey, good morning everyone, Ben here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. Going to do a Sunday morning Inkblot. So when I was looking at the colors to pick which one, uh, on the other side of my heart and my back, it began to hurt. So I went with green. Then I thought of, the back, the spine area, what is supporting us. So I went with red, the root. I was then drawn to blue. And I wanted one more color, and I thought, well, I'm wearing orange, so I will use orange. I will drop this and take a picture and show you what was dropped and then what came through. I have to let this dry, and I'm going to do another message, so might not remember what we started with. We'll see what comes through. If it resonates, feel free to like or comment. If it doesn't, don't make it fit, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, everybody, you should be able to see what I dropped and then what came through. So right off the bat, we'll start at the bottom and we'll work our way up. This is a transformative process. We've clearly gone through something uh, transformative before, and we probably just went through another one, or we're still in the process. So right at the bottom, I'm seeing these as glaciers. Maybe there was a time in our experience that uh, we would call it, we were just living in the 3D. We weren't awoken to anything. We were going through the motions. And then we started to wake up, see things differently. It probably started with institutions, government, all that kind of things, and then people around us, our own healing journey, and then we would have moved forward into this Hawk stage, a larger perspective, seeing things differently, expanding, gaining wisdom in general, and then maybe we thought that was it, or maybe we wanted to go further. At that point, I see this as a volcano. Going in there, what actually happens if we fell into a volcano? I mean, we would be turned to goo. We would be lava at that point. There is uh, stripped down, nothing left. Really a difficult experience to go through, stripping down everything around us and viewing it differently, but let alone ourselves, who we are, who we were, and our thought patterns, our beliefs of self to come out as, we'll call this, the Phoenix Rising. Uh, if we have made it to this stage, uh, congratulations. If we're in the volcano at this time, it is probably very trying. I think they would call that a dark night of the soul type of deal. Things are being stripped from us, things that made us feel safe. Our internal beliefs, thoughts, and structures are being reorganized and restructured. A lot of pushing and pulling, ripping and tearing, uh, losing our mind and our belief in self and everything around us. Is a very difficult process. But coming out of that is a monumental experience. Sure, when we're going through it is extremely uncomfortable and unbearable. We may want to, check out at times. We just want to numb it. We want to stop it. But at the other side of the coin, when you get through that process, uh, you are capable of anything at that point. You have uh, not only just because of what you've gone through, but what you've became, what you've learned, and what you've experienced has placed you in a place of uh, uh, extreme wisdom, understanding, acceptance, and a born leader. What do we have here, Spirit? Seven of Pentacles. The patience of going through this process. What was really given off, at the Hawk stage of thinking, hey, I got here, I woke up, I see all these things differently. And that was probably a difficult time to go through just that level, if we will. And uh, whether it was choice to start digging deeper or if we were propelled through it, by our higher self or our guides, those around us maybe. And situations in general can do this. A lot of situations, we may think these hardships are just a shitty hand, when really they are this deeper seated reason to release some other limiting belief or experience. And then we got thrown into the volcano, and uh, depending on how long we were in there, took a lot of patience to keep pushing forward, to keep moving, to keep trying to find the good in the very liminal, I should say, limited items or experiences that we're having, regardless of how painful everything is around us. We may even be, if we're in the Phoenix stage, just still carrying the experience of the volcano, the pain, and wondering, when's it going to change? Or when am I going to fully integrate this, let go of this? Sometimes these processes, if they're rushed, we have to repeat in a way. I don't mean as drastic, but it delays things of our movement. No, Four of Wands reversed. Delayed festivities. There's that word delayed. When we are forcing things faster than we have integrated it or healed it, we can delay things naturally. It really depends on what we're striving for. Or we're in that place that, like I said, we are still carrying the weight of the volcano. And, when's the shoe going to drop? When's it going to let go? When are things going to turn good? When, I went through this, I know why. I know what's coming, but when? Why? Why am I still in this place? And maybe there's things deeper seated than we're really aware of, than what we experienced in the volcano, or something from another time, a lifetime, or even ancestrally, that we are clearing out, that we see on the face level, but maybe it did more, I don't want to say damage, but more hurt, more scarring than we really know. And I don't really think it's something that we need to run at. I don't think we need to dig into it to try to fix it. I think it's something that naturally is taking place, clearing out. I often say, our body, our physical vessel here needs to respond. And it has its own clock as well. If you experience daylight savings time, that hour is a lot. It affects your animals' eating schedules. It's a big change. Changing through all of this, all these limiting beliefs, all these confidence, self-image ideas, these self-esteem. Sorry, I got distracted. Those are all programmed in our body. Our body's waiting to react a certain way when we experience something that before we got triggered from, or someone said something or behaved a certain way. Our body's ready to react that way. And now if we're not in that place anymore, it needs to catch up. Six of Pentacles, generosity. First thing that came to mind is still being a good person in lack, in shitty circumstances, still wearing that face of, I don't want to say toxic positivity, but still finding the good in things, and helping or giving to others while you're suffering or going through hell at a time. Still showing up in a way that sadly we know a lot of others wouldn't, especially given the circumstances. Which you probably did this alone. Which naturally we would all say it would be great to have support through that experience. But for some, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to figure it out yourself. And that's actually a good thing. Not taking away what took place. But I'm just saying, that forging is much more potent than if carried through. Three of Pentacles reversed. Ineffective team. They probably were anyone that you could have leaned on during this process. Maybe they wouldn't have understood. It is tough if naturally, I'm sure you're into this world, if you're watching this, spirituality that is, and trying to, what's the word? I don't want to say replicate, resonate, relate is the word I'm looking for, with others that we probably grew up with or were raised with, or family or friends, relationship, coworkers, because they're not in that world. They're not having that experience. Will they? That's up to them and their timeline and their decisions. You have clearly chosen to move forward, to advance, to expand, to grow. And uh, maybe we had to walk away from them during this process because inevitably, sadly, they're holding you back in a way from this ability to grow. And not having anyone to lean on during that process probably made it a lot more difficult to stomach, to handle, let alone for someone to actually understand what you're going through, what you're feeling. Sure, you could tell them, and it's probably just in one out the other. You know, it is, uh, they can't see what you see. Page of Pentacles, ambition, uh, constantly pushing forward. Yes, we were in that volcano and we were liquefied to lava and just floating there. But if you picture being in lava and all you see is like your eyes, your nose, and your mouth just kind of floating there, you know, our body has been completely transformed inside and out, and we can see, we can smell, and we can taste, but we don't really have movement. There was no movement there. We were going with whichever way the current was tossing and turning us, but we still looked up. Oh, I want to fucking cry. We still looked up and saw the sky. We still tried. We still knew we were going to get out of it, and we did. That's sad. Nine of Wands, the fortitude, the strength is can never be, how do I want to say this, uh, understood by others because they haven't gone through it. I often say, sure, we could always say, uh, yeah, we have the same story, and you know, we went through the same thing. Not really. You know, sure, we can relate to that extent, but even if the story was like word for word up to 85%, that other 15% is all you. No one can replace how you felt or what you went through during that experience. That's what I mean. Like no one understands the true strength that it took to get through this, to get to this place, to blow out of this volcano, to have transformed and to still came out on top of it and stronger than ever. Tower reversed, denying that we made it, denying that, uh, not taking time to look at what we actually did accomplish, denying that we did it, that we went through this, that we're there, that something good is there for us now. Maybe we, like I said earlier, about still carrying what went on in the volcano. Maybe we still think we're in that phase, and that's holding us back from truly seeing the full potential of what we went through, what we accomplished, what we healed, what we transformed into. Neglecting to see the outcome, to be there and actually experience it now. Uh, I think we very well may still be, you know, carrying that experience along. So be it. The full reverse, stagnation. This may be what we're feeling, and I think it's because we still think we're in there. We're not seeing the accomplishments. We're not allowing ourselves to accept that we did it, that we got through it, that we're here, that we're ready to receive, that I'm here. Allow it to flow to me. I'm not in the volcano anymore. I made it out, clearly. I flew the fuck out. I didn't get spit out. I didn't get washed out. The volcano didn't erupt and I dried. No, I flew out. I turned from those eyes and that nose and that mouth in that lava. and I chose to move forward. I flew out. I'm going to leave it there. Congratulations. Uh, Take time to look at yourself and where you came from, what you did, and how you got here, because you did get here. It's time to open your arms and receive. If this resonates, feel free to like, comment, share, or subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.